guest. He's no stranger to examining the pivotal figures of history. Emmy-winning journalist and New York Times bestselling author Bill O'Reilly has co-authored a new book with Josh Hammer titled Confronting Evil.
Yeah, the book takes on some of the darkest individuals and regimes in history, explores what their legacies now teach us about the choices between good and evil. Bill O'Reilly joining us now. Good morning to you, Bill. Great to have you on our air once again. You've penned so many books, 20 right now, I believe is the count. This is, of course, coming out #1, just like your others have. Is this a record?
It is a record for nonfiction, 20 #1 bestsellers on the New York Times list. And it's nice to be on Channel 11. I used to work at Channel 11 way back in the Stone Age.
In the Pix days?
That's right. I remember you here. Yeah. You know, you write about so many things, but to go after the most ruthless leaders, past and present, why go down such a dark alley?
Well, because people need to know that evil is growing, not only in the United States, but around the world. I think it's obvious. The Charlie Kirk assassination focused everybody in on individual evil. And collective evil with Putin, I put him on a cover for a reason, threat to the entire world. And a lot of people live in their own bubble now because of the cell phones and all that. And they need to pay attention to this because it's getting worse. Mm-hmm. And every human being on the planet is in some kind of danger. And the only way that evil can be defeated is if good people step up and say enough.
Yeah, I mean, evil can be so abstract, though. So how do you define evil?
Well, evil is when you hurt another human being on purpose and have no remorse. You like to do that. You are evil.
You know, I think we see this in social media, right, where people can sort of hide behind things and allow us to tap into the darker sides of ourselves. You look at everybody from Hitler, Genghis Khan. How did you choose who makes the cut?
Every one of the 15 people I profile in Confronting Evil is relevant today. You had to get tied into today. And I do that in each chapter. But you make a very good point about social media. It used to be evil people were isolated. They were pariahs. When I was a kid in Levittown, we all know who the dope dealers were. Mm-hmm. But they were shunned. Now you can sell heroin on the streets of New York City, and chances are you'll get away with it. Nobody will confront you. And selling drugs like that is evil because you don't know how it's going to hurt the person who's buying it. So our tolerance for evil has grown. We tolerate it, and social media is a big part of that because bad people can gather together in a little club and discuss their nefarious deeds, and that encourages them. And the evidence is in the Charlie Kirk assassination, that's exactly what happened to this alleged assassin. He went into the dark recesses of social media and got more and more radicalized.
Yeah. Do you think that that's the only difference between modern day evil and historical evil?
Well, there's a difference in the decline of religion. So we're a secular country now, so is Western Europe. And people ignore it, good and evil. I went to Catholic schools and then pounded into me, you know, you got to be good. You can't lie, you can't steal, you can't do all this stuff. That's gone. You know, so a lot of people are raised without any boundaries at all.
How do you think we counteract this? Is it enough to shine a light on it? Do we confront it? How do we balance it out? How do we make sure that good can triumph over evil?
Well, I'm trying to shame people. So the book is a revelation because the people I write about, since they don't teach history very much in school anymore, people going, I didn't know that, I didn't know that, I didn't know about Putin, I didn't know how he got that bad. And that's my job as a journalist historian. But if you allow evil, if you know it's existing in your life and you just don't do anything about it, shame on you.
Yeah. What surprised you most in your research?
There's something in every chapter, and that's why our books, the Killing books and the Confronting books, are the best-selling nonfiction books on the planet, because they're fun to read. I mean, it's hard to say evil's fun, but it's compelling, but on every page you'll learn something. And I didn't know how bad Putin was as a kid. And I didn't know how bad his father was and how he got to be the tyrant that is threatening the whole world now. Because remember, this man has nukes. And in my opinion, he'd use them.
What can you tell us about Putin's dad?
Well, he was raised in the communist tradition. His idol is Stalin. That tells you something. But his father was abusive, and he was out on his own from 11 and 12. He formed little gangs. The gangs were so violent at 11 and 12 years old that the people who lived in the housing project feared Putin and his crew because they beat the hell out of you or even kill you. And that's when he was not even a teenager yet. And then he rose up to KGB status and then took over. And Putin's the wealthiest man in the world. And people don't know that. And we show you how he made his money, and it's all, you know, one evil act after another. But when I was at Yankee Stadium on 9/11 with President Trump, I handed him the book, and I said, you got to read this chapter on Putin, because Trump's up against this guy, and it is a massive problem.
And he's certainly now changing track and approach when it comes to Putin and when it comes to Ukraine. And this all, of course, brings up the really important point that we all know as journalists, and you touched upon this already, Bill, that it's so important to expose these things, to have knowledge. But you can write about it, but we need to get people to read about it and to understand and to put all of these leaders into perspective and into one place for people to find. What do you hope happens when people read your book and by producing this?
Knowledge is power.
Yeah.
And the power of good, traditionally in our country, has overcome evil. So again, that's my job, is to tell you what the reality of every situation is. That's what we do on BillO'Reilly.com, on YouTube, all of our, we're on News Nation now. And my job is to tell you what's happening and back it up. And then when you know, you can decide that I'm not going to put up with X and Y in my neighborhood anymore, and my family anymore. I'm going to do something about it. That's what I hope people will take away from Confronting Evil.
Well, looking forward to reading your book, Bill. Great to have you on. Thanks so much for joining us.
Always good to see you, Bill.
Appreciate it, ladies. Thanks for having me in.
Sure. And the book, Confronting Evil, #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. It's out right now.